So today is Guardian Games. We are kicking off the class warfare that has always plagued this game. But in some news, besides a brand new hoverboard, which I think is incredibly fun and awesome, we have a brand new weapon or reprisal weapon tied to Guardian Games. And this weapon is a compressed waveframe archetype power grenade launcher called the Hullabaloo. Now, am I saying that right? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. The name is tongue twistery, in my opinion, for me. And yeah, so today we'll be going over all the roles and the God roll you want when farming this weapon in Guardian Games. Now, before we get any further talking about the perks, let's give a little bit of overview of this weapon. Will this weapon be the greatest boss TPS grenade launcher ever made and makes Anarchy look like a joke? No, this will not be that. But there is a growing need for something like this in activities, and I do think this waveframe is going to see substantial play when players need a person on the fire team to be an efficient and effective and quick ad control player. Could this see the light of day in Grandmasters? Maybe. With some of the reoccurring themes of just a lot of arc shields, for example, this has a great place in that little niche. So I don't think this is a weapon that you're going to pass by and say, oh, whatever, another arc waveframe, compressed grenade launcher, whatever it may be. It's also important to mention that there has been a buff to these weapons. There is a 40%, I believe, increase to all damage to all types of enemies. I don't think it's substantial enough to bosses to even try that, but when it comes to adds and majors, yes, this is even better than before. And I do think these weapons were somewhat viable. There's also been an increase to their reserve count, not by much, but to a degree that is substantially noticeable and very, very necessary for a weapon like this. And then on top of that, the wave itself has been increased in radius, which I think is a nice addition that is much better than before. So with that being said, let's jump in and give you guys all the perks you can farm with this weapon. And honestly, I think there's going to be a lot of contradicting God rolls out here, but I do think this one I'm going to be saying is going to be the best. And we'll give two, because I do think the third slot can vary depending on what you want. So here are all the perks for this weapon. Now, we'll be reading this from right to left, labeling it so you guys can follow. All the way to the right, we have the origin trait for the Guardian Games Classic Contender. Final blows with this weapon grant class ability energy, and to be honest, this is incredible depending on your class. So if you guys are a hunter or a warlock, this can be insane. If you guys are a titan, depending on how much you rely on your shield and stuff like that, this can also be a nice little origin trait. Over in column 4, we have One for All, Vorpal, Cascade Point, Chain Reaction, Collective Action, Disruption Break, and Golden Tricorn. Over in column 3, we have Impulse Amplifier, Enlightened Action, Field Prep, Auto-Loading Holster, Envious Assassin, Grave Robber, and Volt Shot. Over in column 2, for magazines, we only have High Velocity rounds and Impulse rounds. And then for mags, or at least barrels, honestly, Volatile Launch, Smart Drift Control are kind of the barrels that are mainly highlight of focus. Every other stuff is intriguing in their own way. So, what is a God roll, you may say? Well, there's two, at least for me here. For the first hand on the top, for the first two, it's pretty straightforward. Smart Drift Control and High Velocity rounds. Now, over in the third slot, you either want Enlightened Action or Volt Shot. This, in my opinion, I feel like it's a toss-up. Enlightened Action helps with that reload and, utilizing a lot of things. Volt Shot is also incredible. Now, you also may be wondering, what about Envious Assassin? You are right. That is a perk that is available to slot in. If you guys want to make a third God roll here, you can slot that in. But in my opinion, I was using Envious Assassin. It's seen a bit of a nerf. I believe before the overflow was 150% in the magazine. Now it's back to 100%. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but it did see an overall perk nerf. And for this weapon in itself, I don't think it's substantial or enough to sway me from Volt Shot or Enlightened Action. And then the fourth slot, as you guys can see, is Chain Reaction. I think for this grenade launcher and for most grenade launchers altogether, this is an incredible perk. But there are other good ones. One for All, Golden Tricorn, Vorpal. These are some solid perks alongside this. And yes, you can do Cascade Point, but that perk is such a niche, misfit, funky perk that, yeah, you can shoot a shit ton of waveframes out at everything, but I think it's just blowing your load instead of actually being efficient with your ammo that you have. But yeah, overall, that's the God rolls you can get for this weapon, or at least the ones that I recommend. Now, let's jump out and give you guys my closing thoughts. Is this a weapon like I said before, you need for boss DPS, no, but the niche of ad clear and how effective this is at doing just that, this is going to be an incredible weapon for those ad clear players, or at least having a buddy in your fire team who maybe isn't the best at boss DPS and you want to slot them into ad clear and raids. This is a weapon. You should tell them, hey, try to farm, get this, yada, 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 because it's only going to make your fire team better. And altogether, seeing new archetypes like this and other power weapons bring value to playstyles, I think is a great thing. And I'm very happy that this grenade launcher has awesome perks for great god rolls, as well as the fact that seeing it a buff to the weapon itself, to the archetype itself, that makes it extremely viable and in some cases extremely necessary depending on the player that you are. But altogether, Guardian Games, new weapon, awesome. Glad to see something of value here. Definitely will be farming a little bit more, seeing what combinations you can get, combinations that are out there that maybe, hey, could be better, who knows? But I think I'm pretty sold the fact that chain reaction volt shot or chain reaction enlighten action being your main go-to perk combo for that god roll, and everything else, you know, could be something. There are many valid combos here, but altogether, that's pretty much all I got to say on the matter. But if you guys enjoyed this video and found this video informative in any way, be sure to drop this video a like, helps out the video a ton. And for more content like this, whether it's god rolls, build videos, discussion videos, stuff like that, and you guys are new here and want that content, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell to be notified when I do drop more content, as well as drop content on Siege, Call of Duty, or Helldivers 2. But until then, hope you guys go out there and represent your class well. May the best class win. And that's all I gotta say in this one. So with that being said, ShadowNinja here, and I'm out.